Welcome back to another installment of the one-on-one series with Ghib. Today I have a very special guest. I have Pepperdine guard Robbie Heath here with me. How are you today, sir?
I'm good, thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. Thanks for agreeing to join. Shout out to Sam for setting this little thing up.
Yeah, shout out Sam, best manager in the nation.
Yeah. So you are last year at Westchester before you transferred. You were the PSAC East Rookie of the Year, all PSAC first team, all that scoring records, everything like that, bro. Like that's a great season. Like, I go to Westchester, so I followed it a little bit and everything like that. And I just think it's crazy to see like somebody in your own backyard like putting in that kind of work on the court, man.
Yeah,
So
appreciate
like definitely great player, man, for sure. So
it. Gotta
let's
keep it
let's get
going.
into it. So just tell the people a little bit about who you are, who may not know.
Yeah, so obviously my name is Robbie Heath. I have a little accent because I'm from a little country town right outside of Melbourne, Australia. Uh, Obviously, yeah, like you said, I went to Westchester, but before Westchester, I went to high school at Abington Senior High, and I moved over from Australia in 2013.
Right, right. So tell us a little bit about like kind of growing up in Australia and what it's like and everything like that.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm from a little country town, so nothing's going on like it is in America. I had one basketball court down the street, the local high school, and I didn't really grow up with people to play with. It was only me and my dad that pushed me, and my godfather Damon Larry that pushed me. And growing up, I was cut from a lot of teams. Uh, I was sitting the bench on a lot of teams. And then after one game, my mum got sick of it and she knew I wanted to be a basketball player. So she told my dad to take me over to America to pursue my basketball career.
Right. So it sounds a lot like, your family had a big role in your life and your upbringing. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to have the family I have. I mean, my mum, my two sisters, my dad. I mean, we obviously still keep in touch with my mother and sisters every day. But I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be the person I am. I wouldn't be the determined and strong-willed person I am because I've got knocked down a lot of times. Like I said, I've been cut a lot of times, and they gave me the blessing to come over here. I mean, if my mum didn't believe in me or anything like that, I would have just been playing local basketball in Australia, and none of this would have happened. So I'm very grateful I have the supporting cast that I have in my life.
So you said you moved over to the US in
Yeah,
2013.
yeah.
So were you a high school student by then or were you about to start high school?
Yeah, I was going into eighth grade. So the summer of 2013, so going into like 2013, 14 year,
Right.
I was going into eighth grade.
So tell me about like being 13, 14 years old, one way of life pretty much from the time you're born to the time you grow up, right? And you move to a whole different country.
Yeah.
So tell me
So
about that.
yeah, so obviously I knew at a young age like I better not mess this up. You know what I mean? My family
Yeah,
put a lot of money in this. You know what I mean? So they obviously believe in me, but it was obviously hard from the get go. I mean, I've never been away from my family, so being away from my mum, my two sisters, they're like my best friends. So especially being away from my best friends, Lee and Bryant, and stuff like that. Like, it's obviously a culture shock, and I had to adapt quickly. I remember the first day of school. I didn't know what the Pledge of Allegiance was. I was like, why is everyone standing up? You know what I mean? But
yeah,
like, and all the slang and stuff like that. But I mean, I knew I had one goal in mind, and that's to like make it further in basketball. So I knew at a very young age, I better not mess this up. I always say to my dad, I never want to work a 9 to 5. So I knew at
yeah,
a
for
very
sure.
young age, I knew at a very young age that like all they put a lot of trust in me and a lot of it's basically for me I was like I better not mess this up and I knew that at a young age.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, since you've been here, and especially this year more than ever, there's been like a lot of unrest civilly. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of things going on with race relations in the U.S. And that's here. But can you tell me a little bit if that's like a thing in Australia too? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
My sisters, well, my younger sister, my older sister, um, she's very loud on social media, talking about the experiences she had and calling out the racist people she has, like that she knows and stuff like that. So we're obviously really, um, we're really into it. You know what I mean? Obviously, all people that have been discriminated against should be really paying attention to what's going on, because not many of us were educated like that much. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Especially the young generation. So my sisters, I like to say, are very educated. We talk about it every day. But in Australia, there's a lot of racism. Obviously, I mean, me and my sisters, we were the only black people in the area, so we basically were born into racism. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so they're very they were into the marches and stuff like that. There was a huge march a couple months ago when my younger sister went, and she was very emotional because there was a lot of people that were supporting like Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
mean, all around the world, there's racism, and just it's just a bad thing. But we just have to overcome it and just become smarter and educate people.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely an important thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's only like 40 minutes a night where you on the court and everything like that, but
Yeah.
you leave for sure, and you got to be aware of everything. So
One
I'm
of the
glad.
first, yeah. Oh, sorry, but one
Oh
of the
no, I'm
first,
just saying.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
One of the first things my coach, now Coach Romar, said was for us players, that we should use our platform to like educate the people and tell them about our past experiences and that. And that's what I did. I did an Instagram post and a Facebook post talking about the experiences I've been discriminated against, and I've called out my friends, or people I know now. And if you don't have my back, then and the rest of my friends back and stuff like that, if you don't believe what like I believe, if you're white, you know what I mean? Like you can't tell
Yeah.
me certain stuff about race and stuff when you're white and you've never experienced it. So if you don't have my back, then I don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'll
Exactly.
educate you, and if you then say I'm sorry, Robbie, or I'm sorry, whoever, I uh, I know now, like I will never understand, but I will stand by you. I respect that. But
Yeah.
if you think I'm wrong, then I can't talk to you.
Yeah. I just feel as though like you can't really argue racism, and if you like tolerate it, then like you still part of the problem.
Exactly. If you don't call people out, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, so moving on, like, so you move to the US, obviously, you get to high school, you go to Abington, and Abington, from what I know, has always pretty much had stacked teams. So can you tell me a little bit about like, getting to high school and high school basketball?
Yeah. So obviously, I wasn't promised anything, so I went to Abington and I had to try out and stuff like that. But I was at Abington freshman year. I was playing behind Matt Pennical and Amir Hinton. Matt Pennical obviously went to Westchester also, and we had a pretty good team. We won our first district championship since like my dad played in the '80s, so that was pretty cool. And then 3 years after that, I played with Eric Dixon and Lucas Monroe. Eric goes to Villanova and Lucas goes to Penn. And we kind of created I wouldn't say super team, but we created a pretty good team. We won 3 district championships. Unfortunately, we never won state championships, but playing along those guys, it was very cool. And I got better every day. But I'd like to say if I didn't go to Abington, I don't think we'd win any district championships. But that's just
Yeah, for sure. You gotta have that confidence in yourself. So, you graduated what year?
2018.
So you graduate in 2018, and you know, typically junior senior year is when like the recruiting process starts for most people. So tell me a little bit about like what you went through in recruiting and your process and how you ended up at Westchester.
Yeah, so my recruiting was non-existent in high school, I'd like to say. At the my senior year, I had Drexel and Hartford. They were talking, but they didn't really offer. I committed to UC Riverside, but make a long story short, the coach lied to me. So then I had to the next year I had to go to prep school, And after prep school, I only had one offer, and that was from Westchester. So I'm thankful for Westchester for, seeing the talent. And then, the rest is history. That's how I went to Westchester.
So what was your biggest adjustment going from high school to prep school and now, being at college, playing on the Division II level, which, is clearly not D1, but, it's still like hella talent at the D2 level.
Yeah, PSAC's one of the best D2 conferences. But going from high school to prep school, I mean, prep school, you get in your head a lot. I mean, I'm a very confident dude, but when you always play well, or you play some good stretches of games, and then you might have a bad game or something, like, oh, why haven't I gotten any offers yet? My teammates have gotten offers, but why haven't I gotten any offers yet? And that was my mindset throughout the whole year. And I like to say, like, I could have went into Westchester, I didn't go D1, like, stuff this, I'll just be an average player. I'll just average 10 to 15 a game and just like be a pretty good player and stuff like that. But that's not the mindset I had going into Westchester. I mean, I had lofty goals. I wanted to be an All-American, wanted to be Player of the Year, stuff like that. And that's the mindset I went in with Westchester. But the adjustments, I mean, the practices are definitely harder, and Coach Blair was very intense. But I mean, I can adjust really easily, I'd like to think.
Yeah. So, as you said, you had goals. So the season you had, you kind of expected that, right?
Yeah. I mean, uh, I I wasn't shocked because I knew they were going to give it to the boy from Shippensburg, the MVP, the Player of the Year. So
Yeah.
he had a good season, but it wasn't as good as mine. But I mean, I like to think it's because I entered my name in the transfer portal a bit early.
Yeah.
They gave it to him, but he's a good player. But I just feel like I made enough noise and got enough attention. That was my goal to you know, put my name out there, and I think I did that.
Right. So you had a 50-point game against Bloomsburg. You was clearly hot. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen often. So can you tell me like about that game? Take me through it. Like what was going through your mind?
I mean, at the start, first couple minutes, I got the ball, I pulled up from pretty deep, and then shot an air ball. But I don't really care when I miss a shot because I just have that confidence that my next one's going in. But then the Bloomsburg bench started chirping, and I like that. I think that's a part of basketball, the trash talk. So when they started chirping, it got me fired up, and I hit my next couple shots, and then got to the free throw line, and I got into a little groove. I mean, I finished the game 12 for 26, which is right under 50%. But I feel like I didn't really shoot that well, to be honest, like as in like for a 50-point game, you know what I mean? Like looking back at the game, I've watched it a couple of times, and I'm obviously critiquing my every move, and I feel like I could have got 70 that game. But I mean, 50 points is obviously a huge milestone, and I'm
Yeah,
grateful for my teammates that, let me go. And obviously the biggest thing is that we won that game. So, and we got in a little hot streak at the end of the year, which we needed.
for sure. So, obviously after the season ended, you decided to put your name in the transfer portal. So before we kind of talk about that, I wanted to ask you, do you feel as if you wanted to use Westchester as kind of a stepping stone to, get your name out there so you can get to a bigger school?
No, because as I said, Westchester was the only school that offered me. I mean, people may think differently, but going into Westchester it wasn't like, oh, I want to get out of Westchester. The first thing is I want to win a national championship. You know what I mean? So uh, what goes with playing well is that people obviously get the attention, and I've heard throughout my whole high school, well, he's a Division 1 player, blah blah blah. Well, why haven't I got any Division 1 scholarship? You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
going into Westchester, I just wanted to win. Obviously, I was focused on individual things like All American and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I'm in in getting more successful and getting more recognition, you have to win. So winning was the biggest part of me, but I didn't go into Westchester thinking, all right, yeah, I'm going to play well this year and then leave. I mean, no one was expecting me to play like that. Only the close ones that really understand how hard I put the work in knew it was going to happen. And just proof is in the pudding, to be honest.
right. So kind of talk about your decision to transfer and, what what kind of got you there. Also, take us through the process of the portal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So after we lost to East Stroudsburg, I felt like, I mean, to be honest, I did enough at Westchester where I'm like, all right, I'm comfortable. Well, I'm never comfortable. I'm just saying, like, at Westchester, I don't think I could have accomplished anything better statistically. Um, and I feel like I always want to play against the best competition. So I feel like me transferring would get my name out there and stuff like that. So the portal, obviously entering my name in the portal, as soon as I did, I got a lot of phone calls and stuff like that, which was very cool. Finally getting the recognition I thought I deserved. And it's just a lot of college coaches, but calling me and like asking, calling Coach Blair, calling my high school coach, calling my dad, calling my mom, calling my godfather. They're just seeing what type of person I am and what kind of mindset I have and stuff like that. I had some great conversations. I also had some pretty bad conversations, but I was always up to talk. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to schools that would text me first. I always wanted to have a conversation. But the biggest thing was consistency. And obviously, Pepperdine was the most consistent school. And that's why I chose them.
So when you decided that you were going to put your name in the portal and everything like that, were you kind of faced with like some hurdles? Did people kind of hate on you or anything like that?
Well, obviously, there's people that's going to say, well, he can't do what he did at Westchester at the D1 level. I'm like, why can't I? All basketball is about making shots. And I mean, doesn't matter who's in my way. I like to think I can make shots. Maybe now there's going to be taller big men, but that's where the floater comes into play. Maybe you can't always get to the basket. You have to do the pull-up jump shot. But people with that mindset really, I don't really have time for them because they're just hateful people, and they just don't know. I just like to put the work in, to be honest. But I heard it all, and I'll continue to hear it. But it's fuel to the fire. I mean, if I listen to that, I would probably be back in Australia playing like third division. So I'm just
Right.
going to keep on getting higher and higher and just working harder.
Yeah. So to speak to that, when I was doing my research on you, obviously I got to prepare for an interview or whatever. So I found an article where Coach Blair from Westchester, he said he's probably not going to have that kind of legacy at Pepperdine. And if he does, he's a phenomenal player who's developed into something very special. How did that feel to hear from the person who recruited you, the only person that seemed to believe in you, when nobody else did, to now go from believing in you to saying that?
I mean, as soon as you said that, I went to the outdoor court and started working out. So I mean, uh, I kind of laughed it off. To be honest, I kind of expected it, but I mean, I just I just felt like I did what I had to do at Westchester. I mean, I wasn't really coming from Australia to America. My goal wasn't to be the greatest PSAC player of all time, because I definitely would have been that if I would have stayed all 4 years. And I think when he played, I obviously broke all his single season records. So maybe the competitive nature of him came out. I mean, I love that in people, but I thought it was kind of a low blow. But I mean, I've I've heard worse by better, so I'm not really worried about it.
Right. So what was when obviously you sit down and talk to your coaches so what was that conversation like when you had it face to face? Like, yeah, I decided that I was going to leave.
I never had that conversation with him. I just put my name in the transfer portal the morning after we lost to East Stroudsburg. But yeah.
Right. Right. So so like when obviously they saw you put the name into the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So kind of how does your relationship with the coaching staff change once you put your name into the portal?
Um, I feel like they knew it was coming because they were talking about it during the season. I wasn't really focused on entering the transfer portal during the season, but they were saying, oh, people are telling me that you're entering the transfer portal. But in all honesty, I wasn't thinking about that. I just was thinking about winning because we're picking up speed. And I just wanted to win that PSAC championship because I don't think Westchester's won one. So, I mean, I don't think the relationship changed, but obviously it changed because I left. But I just feel like I always repped Westchester to the fullest, even after I entered my name in the transfer portal. All I spoke highly was about, spoke really highly of Westchester because obviously that was the only school that believed in me. And I mean, Coach Blair and Coach Watts treated me well. Uh, they let me play my game in high school. I didn't really pull up from where I was pulling up in college, even though I felt like I was able to do that. So they let me actually play my game and like make me. They let me play through my mistakes, which I really appreciate. So, I mean, it's all love there. I'll always consider myself a Golden Ram. So,
Right. So obviously, you go through the portal. You pick Pepperdine. So
yep.
can you tell me a little bit about like why you obviously said they were the most consistent throughout the process? Like, was there anything else that kind of made it feel like, oh yeah, Pepperdine, this definitely the one for me?
So I was like sitting in my car. I was leaving my girlfriend's house, and then I got a phone call. So I picked it up, and he's like, and I heard, "Hello, this is Lorenzo Roma from, Pepperdine." I was like, "Lorenzo Roma." Like his coach, like Brandon Roy, Markel Fultz, Nate Robinson, like all great guards. It's been in the NBA, and it was awesome talking to him. I just felt like the conversation wasn't forced. We were just talking about basketball, about life, and I just felt like I just got a really good vibe off it. We talked for almost like 2 hours, and I felt like like I said, I've known him for a long time, and I just felt like I was talking to my dad or something like that. So right off the gate, it was really cool talking to him. And obviously, after the phone calls following that, it only got better. So I thought Pepperdine was a great place for me to go.
Right. So
Because especially during these times where I couldn't visit campuses, so it was
yeah.
all about over the phone relationships. And me and Lorenzo Romo definitely had the best conversations.
Yeah, so you mentioned kind of the times. I meant to ask you like, how's your quarantine going and like obviously how can you still get your work in, knowing that like you have limited access to well, obviously not now since you're on campus, but before when you were home and we were on lockdown, like kind of tell me about that and how you were able to still get your work in.
Yeah, so I've always played on outdoor courts. So I mean, I went to the local outdoor court. Thankfully, that the rims weren't taken down. It was a little half court, and I was just shooting there. I was doing dribble drills out the front of my house. So I was obviously going for runs, jumping rope. But I mean, it was a challenge, but like it was cool, like writing down workouts before you do them, like what equipment can I use at the house, stuff like that. So I always was working out, and coming here, I actually have less access, to be honest. I mean, our conditioning coach gave us two 30-pound dumbbells and some resistance bands and stuff like that, but we're not allowed in the gym. Uh, I don't think we can work out for another couple of weeks together. So, I mean, it's obviously back in because I had to quarantine for a couple of days until I got my results back. I'm obviously negative because I've been outside and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a beautiful campus, but there's a couple of outdoor courts we can shoot at, but we can't go in the gym yet. So obviously another challenge and other workouts to write down and stuff like that.
So still you guys still keep in touch, I'm guessing via Zoom, everything like that. You
Yeah.
keep
So
in
yeah. So before I came here, we had 3 Zoom sessions a week. On Mondays, we'd have a special guest speaker. And the first special guest speaker we had was the Detroit Piston great Isaiah Thomas. And I literally went, you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. We had Warren Moon, who was a great quarterback for the Houston
right.
Oilers. We had Doug Christie, who's probably the best player to come out of Pepperdine in recent memory. We had some great, really, really great guests. And I mean, it's all about a learning experience. And I made sure I asked a question to every single one of our guests just to, because you might not never get that opportunity again.
For sure.
So it was really cool.
Yeah. So tell me kind of about like, all right, so first you started off in seasonal ass, temperamental ass Pennsylvania, and then you
Mhm.
kind of get to go all the way out to the West Coast and Cali, obviously. So kind of tell me about life in Cali compared
Yeah,
to life in PA.
yeah. So I've been here a couple of days. Was actually my first day off campus. I just went to the beach early, and then I did, like I said to you, um, and I mean it's just all palm trees and great weather. I mean I've always wanted to play basketball on the West Coast, and it's really great. I mean, getting off at the airport, Coach Romar picked me up. I'm really thankful that. That was really cool. He was telling me, oh, USC's 20 minutes that way, UCLA's 10 minutes that way, LMU's right there, the Staples Center's down there. Oh, yeah, we're driving past Santa Monica. Have you ever heard of Nobu? That's where Drake eats at. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, Christ, all palm trees, nice weather. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So it's awesome. PA's PA, grimy, but that's how you like it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
for sure.
kind of like
It's definitely not for everybody though.
not for everyone. You know what I mean? The cold weather, but I mean, I feel like it's the second home for me, so I'm always going to
Yeah, for
appreciate it
sure.
in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So tell me about kind of like, obviously great basketball player, student athlete, all that. But can you tell me about, your outside interests, like what you do outside of basketball and outside of the classroom?
I like to. I mean, if I'm not playing basketball, I'm probably like watching YouTube or something. Like I'm a
Yeah.
really big, like I'm into YouTube. You know what I mean? I thought like maybe I should make a YouTube channel or something. I don't know, but I may do that. But when my teammates are already doing, so I don't want to copy them. But I'm really into watching
Right.
YouTube, just hanging with my friends, stuff like that. But so obviously, I don't really do much. You know what I mean? I just chill. I watch basketball, but I mean, I'm really a chill dude. Like I could sit in the house all day. Like I'm not really into you know. Well, I have to be now because it's Cali. You can't just sit in the house in Cali. But I'm just a really chill dude, like a real sarcastic dude. Can talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Love a conversation. So, I mean, that's the type of dude I am.
Yeah, bro. So, what are your goals for after you done with school? You planning on going pro?
Yeah, so that was my number one goal coming from, that's the main reason I came from Australia. I've always said to my family, I never want to work a 9 to 5. Like seeing my mum get up early in the morning, seeing my dad get up early, like I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like I never want to work a 9 to 5. So obviously playing professional basketball is the goal, and if I keep working hard and keep making plays, I think that it's going to happen.
Definitely. So, we are in uncertain times, but so we really don't know if you'll get to play a season right away. You know what I'm saying? Even me, I'm still hearing from my coaches that a spring season for football, not
Mhm.
really. It might happen.
No one knows. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
nobody knows. But once everybody's able to kind of get back to their sport, and when you get back onto the court, what are you expecting your role to be with your new team?
They well, first I want to say like we're never going to get this much time again. So I mean, I think we should all improve in something. Like it might not be a sport, but like you know, uh, whatever your interests are. I feel like you can get stronger in one aspect in your life. You know what I mean? So we'll never get this much free time again. But saying that, I think I think Pepperdine brought me in to be a scorer and be a leader. So they really like the way I score the basketball, and I feel like they think I can obviously contribute to a winning culture here. And watching a couple games from last year, like we were very close to beating like Arizona, Gonzaga, USC, teams like that. So we're right on that brink. So I feel like with the players coming in, with me coming in, we can, cross that line.
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of tell me about like some advice you would have for people who were in your position, like, and they're coming up and they feel like they might be overlooked. They feel like, damn, I'm a D1 player. I can play at the next level. Like, why nobody looking at me? Tell me like the kind of advice you have for them.
Well, it's very cliche, but always be the hardest worker in the room. Like I know I outwork people to get where I am today. Like I could have easily being knocked down so many times and not getting the right recognition after like games that I thought I played good in high school and stuff like that. Um, you know, never never be satisfied. You know what I mean? Just never listen to people who don't work as hard as you. You know what I mean? Because they're in the position they are because they didn't want to put the extra work in. You have to always be willing to put the extra work in and perform on the big stage. And then when you get that opportunity, thrive, go for it, and never minimize your goals for other people. Like maybe if I would have said that out loud to people, I want to be an All-American, I want to be Player of the Year as a freshman, stuff like that. They're like, all right, Robbie, all right. Like even like stuff like that. Like you can't listen to negative thoughts. You know what I mean? You just have to have that positivity and belief in yourself, and then you'll get the job done.
For sure. So I got a couple little fun questions for you. Like, so you said you watch basketball, obviously. So how do you feel about the NBA bubble? You've been watching the games.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA bubble was a great creation. I mean, Adam Silver is like the best commissioner, having 0 cases, and really, it feels like it's. I thought it was going to be a huge difference between like actual NBA games with fans, but I mean, the NBA has done a great job. So I love the bubble, especially with all the competitive players in the NBA and all the talent they have. I mean, it's must-watch TV.
Right. It's definitely crazy to me to see how people you might not expect to step up have stepped up. Like I didn't expect the Suns to go 8-0 and Book to go crazy.
No,
I didn't expect TJ Warren of all people to be dropping 50 balls because I'm a big fan of Victor Oladipo, so I was expecting the Pacers to kind of be his team, but TJ kind of went crazy. So that being said, tell me your top 5 NBA players right now.
Right now, like no injuries or like right now?
No injuries.
Okay. So Steph's my man. Steph. So you go Steph, LeBron, KD. Steph, LeBron, KD. Actually, I'm gonna do injuries like just right now. So
Okay.
I'm
All right.
not gonna put Steph in there because he hasn't really done much this year because of injuries. So I'm gonna put Dame. I'm gonna put LeBron. I'm gonna put Giannis. I'm gonna put James Harden, and I gotta put Kawhi.
That's solid.
Yeah,
That's a solid top 5. Who's your GOAT?
my greatest of all time. I mean, I never watched Michael Jordan play. I mean, I watched The Last Dance and stuff, so I gotta go Bron.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
I know you hoop, but I had to make sure you had a solid basketball IQ because real basketball IQ people know that it's Bron, obviously.
I mean,
But obviously, you grew up in Australia, so do you have any Australian basketball influences? Because you got Ben out here doing this thing, Dante Exum, Bogut. So
yes, I just finished texting Dante. He's out. He's in Cleveland right now, but he's coming out to Cali soon. So we're gonna hopefully work out together and link up. But yeah, Dante Exum's probably he's a real big influence on me. Obviously Ben, Dang Adele, who's in the G League. He went to Louisville, but it's great seeing Aussie players come in, like Patty Mills. One of my goals is playing for the Australian national team. So seeing Australian basketball players really play well in the NBA is great for the Australian basketball and great for the basketball in general. So I'm just glad they're putting Australia on the map, and hopefully I can join them one day.
right, bro. You definitely will, keep working, keep grinding, obviously. I definitely believe in you. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time out. Obviously you in Cali is beautiful. You could be out on the beach surfing, whatever. But thanks for, taking the time to sit down, do this interview with me. I really appreciate it. You kind of you helping me get my little situation off the ground,
I'd gladly talk about myself all day. So it's all
Yeah,
good.
bro. I appreciate it. Thanks, man. So that was the second installment of the one-on-one series. We will see you next time. Peace.
Thank you.